And that's what I love about it. Okay, so how we got started, or this last launching. So we have our ribbon cutting ceremony next month. We've been, lots of celebrations as we're going through, but it's been amazing. We had delays, and that was really difficult. I think anybody going through business needs to understand this. This is not an easy thing. This took me 2 years to get off of the ground. We faced adversity in funding and financing. We had a situation where they went all the way with us in financing. Took about a year of our lives going through documents. And then we had a video call. It was the first time they saw us. And suddenly they were dropping the funding offer. So this is just important for people to understand there's going to be stumbling blocks in your way, but you got to keep going. You just got to keep going, because I knew the purpose behind this was what my community needed. And so I kept that in mind, and we kept going. We found another lender, and then we faced delays. It's like, oh my goodness, we're building this thing out and trying to get people to sign off on things. It was rough. But I had some really good ideas during those processes. I actually paid my own money and rented out like a studio, just a studio space. And we held mat classes for free for everybody who had signed up. And we were doing those regularly so that they knew we're here for you. We just got to wait for this city stuff to pass through. Right. But spending your own money, you got to be comfortable doing that. And you got to go in and just understand that there is no reward without risk.
Exactly.
And so then when we finally opened, it was overwhelming. Honestly, I wonder how much I can say, but I will say that it was a great opening. Numbers wise, we were at the top of the list of all the franchise clubs opening for 2 months straight.
In our time,
Yep.
Period.
Yep. So we did an incredible job really building that community from just over the phone, getting out into the community and showing our faces, and social media. That helps a lot. And so we opened, and people were very happy, and the phone will not stop ringing. And I want to make this one note, and I'm talking a lot, but I do want to make this one note. Don't question it when things are not working out, because it's actually probably working out. That lender was probably not the right lender for us. Okay, so God closed that door. And then we have the delays. We're supposed to open in the summer, but now we're opening in November. And we didn't lose a single person from that. We didn't lose any of the people that had purchased prior to us opening due to the delays because of the community effort I put forth. But more importantly, that delay put us right at the beginning of the year, where everybody is interested in joining a gym. So be aware that when stuff looks like it's not working out, just breathe. It probably is.
Just breathe. That's right. You're so right. You are so right. The fact that you shared that when you were seen who you are was a seeming delay, right? But many times those situations is the thing that makes us keep going. It raises that vibration of determination, and
Determination.
It's unfortunate, and yet it is it brings out the fight or the strength or the perseverance or the determination to keep going. And that is a lot of what our, African Americans have had to do, in all of our existence, have had to, and that have had to go through that situation. And so, and we're still here. We're still here doing the work that we need to do for the community, for our country, for our world, everything. And so kudos to you for keeping it going. And also what I love that you shared as far as like the business is concerned, because business is business, right? All of the things that we need in terms of documentation. And my favorite thing to say in business is if it's not documented, it didn't happen, right? So keeping all of those records, making sure that everything is where it's supposed to be, keeping those things organized. For those of you that are contemplating starting a business, listen to this, and trust me, in even doing, in doing Fave Unite TV, and and getting all of that launched, that the whole story, the documentation of that not only includes just the highs and the lows, or the what we did and the journey, but it's just making sure that we operate as a business. What do we do to, what is the service that we provide? How do we get it to market? What is our story that resonates with the community, that makes them want to come back? Those are all business practices that if you're going to be in business, you got to do it. So thanks for sharing that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's uh just do a little twist on it a little bit. So now you're mother and daughter working together. And Tamar, I'm gonna let you, my dear, pick up on that conversation. What's it like to be in business with your daughter?
Well, I have a couple of things to say about that. I'll talk about our dynamic a little later, but I'm proud of her as a mom, and I have watched her work and everything that she's done. But I'm just going to stick with the business right now. When we mentioned one of our delays, we had like 40, how many people? Like a classes scheduled and everything. And last minute, we were delayed. And when Krystal told me, I was down there for the opening for a month. And then when Krystal told me, first of all, she let me sleep, thank God. And then she woke me up and said, oh, say though, we didn't get the permit. So, and we got all these people coming in tomorrow and everything like that. And so she was so calm. And I was like, oh, and then she wrote this email to everybody explaining everything. It was very heartfelt. And when we had our meeting, we had a meeting with the people who had signed up first. And each one of them, I thanked them for continuing to hang in there with us. And they all said, Krystal's email is the reason that because they understood, a lot of them are business people too. They understood delays and everything like that. But the fact that she just came out and laid it all out there, and so that's why they continued to say that we didn't lose anybody. That everybody waited until we actually opened. So I want to say that about that. And then I've been following Krystal's career very closely from the time she first started modeling until now, as far as her acting and everything. And Krystal's all business. There's a look she gets when she goes, mother. Okay. And like I was in the new Jim Crow when she filmed it. So I'm down there, okay, just before COVID started, I'm down there, and like she's walking around, she's all business, and then she goes, Funny, how you doing? You feeling okay? You're all right. And then she wouldn't let me be in the riot scene because she was afraid I'd get hurt. But she's all business. Okay. There's a look she gets, and her voice is always calm, and she's always pleasant, but you see the steel underneath. And I don't even know, like a glove, iron glove, metal, and you have a glove. She's so yes, working with her is good. And we do have different styles of doing things. And sometimes she gets really frustrated with me. And sometimes I get frustrated. And I was trying to explain to her, like, we're so different. you have, I mean, I've recreated myself like about 3 different times from the time I was young, but I don't know how many changes I have in me. So the whole risk kind of thing sometimes, like, we'll get to that point, but she has been right every time. And I couldn't believe it. She's been right every time. So it's wonderful. Overall, it's wonderful working with her. She really is good. She's professional and but sometimes anyway, mother, that's all I got to say is just
I
mother.
love you,
I
mommy.
love
Of
you.
course. I love it because and my mom's not with me anymore, but my mother was a singer,
Oh.
amazing vocalist, and she taught me absolutely everything. Most of the time, particularly if I'm singing jazz or an operatic piece or something of that nature, I don't I cannot distinguish, that it's my voice versus her voice because it's so still to this day we're still so connected in that way. But all the things that you are saying about Krystal, right? Where'd she get it? And so what a
Right.
phenomenal role model, And I can see just from what you were sharing with me about being in law and the determination that you've had to do the things that you're doing, you know. Of course, she has her own sense of self, as we all do, but gratefully, we're able to capture and learn about how to bring that sense of self to light because we have our moms that have given us a great role model. So I'm sure she would echo that, or else you guys probably would not be in business together.
Yeah. No, my mom, I always called her the queen of reinvention. So she always kind of let me know, I mean, that steel, that calm, oh, everything's going to be okay. That does come from her teaching. She just doesn't necessarily follow her own teaching. Um, but yeah, she has shown me through her life that is never over. Like you just keep on going
Yeah.
and changing. And so I love it. My mom is amazing. I like working with her because we have a good balance. I am very, it's possible. And she's like, but let's document it and see
Yep.
exactly how. Right? She keeps me in a good level, and I need that person to talk to because I will be like, but we got to do this and we got to do this. And she said, I'm not saying we can't do this, but in time, we just opened. Okay, but I want to make sure that
I have to keep
it's
saying.
okay. We will, but
Yeah.
just in so it worked out.
I'm so excited about all of that. Really am. I want to also, Tamar, focus a little bit on your the passion that you have for helping veterans and actually serving. Um, what was that like for you? I mean, obviously there's a new film that's out about Black women serving in World War II. And so I'd like to get your take on what it is like to serve in uh in our um in the capacity for which you serve. What was that like to be in service?
So it was very interesting. I had just turned 18 in April and was old enough to go in. And so I went in, I was in college after I turned 18, I went in because of the GI Bill, because they have wonderful benefits with the GI Bill. And I was automatically classified as a paralegal. And when I went in, it was all women, but it was not, but my family is not a stranger to women being in the military. My
Mhm.
favorite aunt was a Black Women's Army Corps veteran in World War II. And during World War II, she got when she got married and had her daughter, she had to get out. But yes, she was so, and then her daughter went in. So it's like it was the women that were going in more than the men. So you get in there, and when you're with the women, it's all women. Okay, just like all women. But when they moved us in with the guys, that's when there started to be a distinction in terms of how many people, how many women that were in there. And I actually was promoted to officer and was stationed in Germany, and I was the only woman in my company, and that was the only black woman in my country, in my company. But I'm used to that. I mean, just think about it especially, I would like to see some idea about how old you say you are. Okay, say you're the age that you say you are, then you know what I'm talking about. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. You go there and it's like you're the only one or one of two. And so, I did learn a lot of discipline through the military, and also I learned more about what was happening with vets. So when I got out of the military, I wanted and went to law school and everything. I wanted to help veterans, but I didn't have a way to just go and do it until recently. They allowed, well, I shouldn't say recently. It used to be you could only pay an attorney $10. The attorneys could only charge $10.
Okay.
Okay, because that law was the law in Civil War times.
Okay.
When I became an attorney in the 85, my big firm that I was working with, but they were working on a case before the Supreme Court trying to get that changed. It was not until the 90s that it was changed so that you could make, a living wage up. So think of how many people did not get any assistance from attorneys. They would get, from VSOs or Veteran Service Organization, but attorneys. So this is fairly recent. But anyway, once I got in, I'm accredited to represent veterans. And so once I got into the whole system, that's when I really started to learn really what it was. You don't know till you don't know. You really don't know.
Right.
I mean, going to law, reading the cases, reading everything, and getting caught up. No, this is dropped in the middle of a battle. And a lot of people who practice this, we're all military too, and it is a battle. So it's exhilarating, but it definitely was a transition getting into it. So yeah, I think I see now that I was meant to do it the whole time, but I just had to get everything together to do it. And so when I help a veteran, I help them with their appeals. And when I help them, some of them are getting benefits going back to the 70s. My oldest client is 88 and terminal. And I'm working on benefits for him. And so I have Vietnam vets are most of the ones that I have at this point. So yeah, and also Gulf War vets. So that's what it was like for me. The military was a wonderful experience.
Check out the full episode of OnStage on Fave Unite TV. We think you'll love the short films, podcasts, and other amazing content on Fave Unite TV. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Fave Unite TV. We're here for Black stories and Black storytelling, showcasing the culture 24/7, 365 on Fave Unite TV.